Hey babes, happy Tuesday. Time for another edition of Training Tip Tuesday with me, Coach Coral from Team Babe Athletics. So this month we are going through a series on supplemental training considerations outside of swim, bike, run, but things that are equally as important, but oftentimes neglected when it comes to having success as an endurance athlete and sustainable success as an endurance athlete. So what I want to talk to y'all about today is the concept of mobility versus flexibility. And I know a lot of times as endurance athletes, we turn to yoga, and this is not a knock against yoga, we turn to yoga as one of our primary methods of injury prevention. So what I want to talk to y'all about today in brief is the difference between the concepts of flexibility and mobility, what that looks like in practice, and why you should really also focus on mobility specifically when it comes to supplemental training sessions outside of swim, bike, run, but also why it's important for your day-to-day health as well. So real quick, what's the difference? So I think a lot of times people get a bit fuzzy on this and simply use them interchangeably. I see this quite a bit. So in short, flexibility is your passive range of motion. So how stretchy are you? So if you're doing child's pose let me frame it this way. So everybody, when we stand up, sometimes our shoulders get a little tight, so we might walk up to a door frame and stretch against the door frame, and that is a passive stretch. You're not using any of your muscles to stabilize and hold that position. You're using something else to stretch and really lengthen that muscle. On the flip side, a mobility aspect is can you achieve that range of motion, but also generate power there. So even though you might be able to use that door frame to stretch your arm way above your head, a lot of swimmers, and this is a really good swim specific example, you might only be able to generate force actively at about 70% of your shoulder extension. So when it comes to finding optimal function within your joints and translating this to a really sustainable body movement pattern, we need to look at functional range of motion, which is mobility. So we're stabilizing here, we're generating force, we're generating power. The body is moving optimally. It's not just, how stretchy are you? So this is why a lot of the work that we do, 10, 15 minutes a day doesn't have to be an hour to 2 hours of your day, but just little bite-sized nuggets interspersed throughout your day and throughout your week can really make a long-term impact on your movement as a whole. One of the best resources that I have found, and this is not a pitch by any means, I'm not in any way affiliated with this practitioner, but there's a wonderful body movement coach. Her name is Shona Virtue, and she has compiled a very accessible 12-week mobility series. I've actually referred a number of our athletes to her program as it does 15 minutes a day. Which is really all you need, but it really focuses on full body mobility as well as upper and lower body. I actually do it myself every day, and it has made quite a difference. But I really just wanted to introduce this concept to y'all and let you know that there is so much value in finding stability and range of motion within an active movement flow. So yes, yoga does feel good, but a very intentional mobility practice can give you a better bang for your buck when it comes to injury prevention, functional, efficient movement, and long-term sustainability in sport. And just a final quick note, a lot of us are now finding ourselves, perhaps in a home work environment. And so when you sit throughout your day, you really become locked up within your hips. So if y'all are going to focus in any one specific area, I encourage you to focus on your hip mobility. And I'll link a couple other items below here, but even just a simple 5-minute hip mobility flow when you get up in the morning, grab your coffee, hit the yoga mat, and really just focus on getting your hip extension. So that's like, hip extension is basically that movement. If you were like winding up to kick a ball, making sure that you're activating your glutes and getting your hips, out of that kind of sitting, crunched up position that we oftentimes find ourselves in 8, 10, 12 hours a day if we're sitting at a desk grinding away. Open up your chest, open up your hips. And also don't neglect to get rotational movement through your thoracic spine, your lower hips, and really just explore this movement and this play within all fields of motion. So this is so important just for, like I said, for your sustainability as an athlete, but also just to maintain a healthy body. Because as we get older and progress through life, a lot of this mobility goes away if we're not actively pursuing it on a daily and weekly basis. So again, just wanted to introduce this concept. There's a lot of different ways that you can go about it. And so if anybody has any questions, please don't hesitate to send me a message, either via the team or via email, and we can definitely hook you up with some resources. But just to recap, Shona Virtue, amazing if you're more into like a martial arts type flow. I'm trying to remember the name of the PT and martial artist who developed a really cool body movement series as well. But I'll place links to both of those below because they are phenomenal resources and quite low cost as well. So let's see, Tuesday, we're looking good for our Tuesday evening swim out at Sand Key Park. Of course, always free, 5:30. So hopefully we'll see a few of y'all out there. And other than that, keep on keeping on. Congrats to a couple of our babes that completed their first sprint distance triathlons this past weekend. So cool to see everybody getting back to racing in a very safe environment and just celebrating those finish lines because it's been a little while. All right, have a great week. Have a great rest of your day. Stay badass.